So just a brief video on the British Patten 1907 bayonet. Between 1906 and 1907, the British military was looking for a design of a bayonet to fit their short magazine Lee Enfield rifle, and eventually this was the design they came up with. It's roughly based on a Japanese design. The overall length of the bayonet is just over 21 inches. The length of the blade from here to the tip is 17 inches, just over 17 inches. And this groove here, the blood groove or fuller, is 12 inches in length. Now you have a number of markings which are interesting on this bayonet. For instance, here you have the broad arrow mark of the British War Department, and here you have this part. This unsharpened part of the blade is known as the ricasso, and you have a lot of information here on the ricasso. For instance, you have the year 1907. Now, 1907 is not the year when this blade was made. It's just telling you that it's a 1907 pattern British bayonet. What you have here is the number 11 and the number 15. And this would indicate that this particular bayonet was made in November of 1915. What's very hard to see down here is the name Sanderson. So this blade was made by a company by the name of Sanderson in Newbold of Sheffield. But there were many more makers of this bayonet, including Wilkinson Sword, Chapman's, Robert Molinson's, Vickers, and even Remington made, I believe, around 100,000 of these bayonets. Above the 1907 you would have the crown. It's faded on this one now. And you would either have the initials ER or GR. Now, ER would indicate that the blade was made before 1910, as ER stood for Edward Rex, or King Edward VII. He reigned from 1901 to 1910. So anything before 1910, you will see ER up here. This particular blade would have GR, George Rex, which would be King George V, king during the Great War. And this blade being made in 1915, he had become king since 1910. So if you turn over the blade and look at the other side of the ricasso, you have here a large X, which is a bend test mark, and you have a government approval mark here. So that's the 1907 British Patten bayonet, which was used during the First World War and indeed used during the Second World War and beyond. That's more or less it, except for its official name was the Sword Bayonet Patten 1907 Mark I. So that's the British Patten 1907 bayonet.